Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I am your host and beat reporter, and I have been your beat reporter covering the Jacksonville Jaguars for On SI every single day since August 2019, and we're continuing to march forward through yet another season together. As always, you can find our 100% free, 24/7 boots on the ground content when you follow us on social media such as Facebook and Twitter at Jaguars on SI. You can also find us at www.si.com/NFL/Jaguars. Alright folks, welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. Today we are talking about how it is officially Titans Week. It is officially time for the Jacksonville Jaguars in a Liam Cohen era to play the most hated rival the Jaguars franchise has. I definitely have seen the rivalries ebb and flow while I've been covering the Jaguars. Houston's really become a big rivalry over the last couple of seasons. I think, especially even so between the players. I think it's almost been player-fueled more than anything. But the Tennessee Titans will always be the team that fans and readers always tell me they hate the most. And that Jaguars players, seem to understand what the feeling is. So it's always a big game when they play, regardless of the circumstances of the season. But for the Jaguars, their first game against the Titans in the Liam Cohen era is a significant one. That when you're in the position the Jaguars are in, at 7-4 with 6 games left to go, you can be anything between 13-4 and 7-10. Every game's a significant game. There is, regardless of who they're playing, every game is a big, important game that they just have to walk away from some way, somehow, with the win. Just how it is. That is what happens when you're fighting for a playoff spot. I mean, it's just, quite simply put, that is what meaningful football is. So, a big one for the Jaguars. You're 7-4. There's another big AFC South battle going on. The Jaguars take care of business. There's a realistic possibility they could be tied with the Colts in the AFC South going into a massive home game against the Colts the following week. But I don't think, I know the Jaguars can't get too far ahead of their own skis. You can't even think about the Colts right now. You have to think about the Titans. Because the Jaguars have been such a volatile, team that every single game they've been in has been competitive outside of the one. That no matter who they're playing, they got to come ready. And I think the Jaguars are absolutely capable of dominating the Tennessee Titans. I think the Jaguars are capable of blowing them out, etc. I don't have any question about any of that. I firmly believe that the Jaguars on paper, this is obvious, a game that they should win. They should be the favorites in. With that in mind, it's the NFL. And the Jaguars have eked by the Raiders and Cardinals with wins this year. So, no, it doesn't matter much that they dismantled the Chargers, who are clearly superior to a bad Titans team. It matters very little. It's a week-to-week league. And the Titans are a team that, just like any other team, are capable of leaving with a win in any given week. I mean, this week specifically. Cam Ward, I feel like when I watch the Titans, and as I've said before, I watch the condensed version of every single NFL game after the Jaguars play before, I'd say, normally the next Wednesday, sometimes the next Thursday. But so I can actually speak with, I wouldn't say authority. I'm not going to go to that extent, but so I can at least speak with some familiarity And when I've watched the Titans in recent weeks under Mike McCoy, yeah, they're really bad. I know their last couple losses have been closer. They're probably not as bad as the peak Brian Callahan, who we all miss right now. Gave us great content. I think that Cam Ward, though, you're seeing encouraging signs. He to me, you guys know how big I am. EPA per play. Pretty much every EPA metric. You guys know how much of a proponent I am in it. But there is an argument to be made that a lot of times it can be better defined as an offense stat as opposed to, all right, let's attribute it to a quarterback, etc. I mean, take, for example, Shadur Sanders' 66-yard screen touchdown to Dylan Sampson. I don't have a figure on me or anything like that, but I'd assume that was probably his biggest or second biggest play today in terms of EPA per play. And that's technically correct because the result of that play was so massive. But it's not contextualizing anything beyond the play in the situation. It's not contextualizing how they got to that point. So I understand why Cam Ward, I can be comfortable with the fact that I think Cam Ward is doing some encouraging things and his EPA per play and dropback is so low. I can make peace with that pretty easily. Like, he's not J.J. McCarthy bad EPA per play, but I believe he's the second to worst. When I watch him, I don't see the second to worst starting quarterback in the NFL. I mean, the kid has a lot of talent, really live arm, can make plays out of structured, off-platform throws, etc., willing to test windows, tough as nails, accuracy can wane, decision-making is almost too cavalier sometimes. He makes a lot of plays. A lot of plays it seems like he's making out of like pure will. He's just making it happen. But I firmly believe that he is a player who is ascending and who is getting better. Other parts of their team, I don't think there's really anything other than, to me, Cam Ward's pure talent and Jeffrey Simmons that should worry the Jaguars. That should worry most teams. I mean, they're going to play hard. I mean, they have talented running backs. They don't have many weapons. They traded their two best corners. Jeffrey Simmons is a force. And I'd say the defensive line, even though, again, not good, is probably their strength. But that shows you what I think about the NFL, though, and just the overall parity of it week to week. I still can't say confidently. I think the Jaguars are going to go in there and trounce them. Like, yeah, spoiler alert, I'm going to pick the Jaguars to win. But I have just, until I see the Jaguars operate at a level of consistency in games they should win, it's going to be hard for me to just say that there's any game that they're going to walk into and just take over. While recognizing that they have the capability to do so. I don't think they're completely and woefully incapable of doing it at all. They're very capable. It's probably the more frustrating thing. But the fact is that games they've had against their worst opponents, the Las Vegas Raiders and the Arizona Cardinals, there's only 3 teams with losing records on their schedule, I believe. Recording this as the Carolina Panthers play Monday Night Football. Maybe they lose, go to 6-6 and be 500. But it's the Bengals. The Bengals suck. It's the Raiders. Yeah, the Raiders are in a really, really rough spot right now. And then, obviously, Arizona. I mean, they're 2-1 in those games, and the 2 games they won came in overtime. It makes no sense. But it's the Jaguars. But it is Titans week. Thank you guys for joining me. Let's have a good one.